guys, and welcome back to the Bro Force Squad podcast. I'm your host, Jeff Hornacek. Alongside me is the Joker's right-hand man, not Harley Quinn, but the male version, Matt Geiger. A very special episode for you today, episode 11 of our podcast. A lot of things to talk about, but Geiger, before we get in, as a DC fan, this has been a very busy week for you. What's your mental state of mind? Are you fragile right now? Are you in good spirits?
The thing that sucks as a DC fan, every time it's been a busy week, it's usually because we just got fucked and shitted on the entire week, which is basically kind of what happened now, because Affleck has left us. He's probably going to leave as Batman, too. I'm not very hopeful right now. But hopefully you can bring my spirits up some. But I was really looking forward to having him direct the Batman, but that apparently is not happening.
Yeah, well, that is actually a very good segue, guys. For those of you who have not listened to us before, thank you for joining in. We're just a couple of bros who like superheroes, movies, and superhero movies. And as we all know, the most important thing in any bro's life is, of course, chest day. So that is always our first topic of the day, where we take the most important thing that happened in the previous week, and we need to get it off of our chest. So we'll dive right into it. This past week, Variety and several other outlets reported that Ben Affleck has decided to step down as director of The Batman, but he will remain as producer and, of course, star of the project. With Affleck still on board to play the superhero, sources did confirm that talent close to Affleck and Warner Brothers were just discussing how to make the film as good as possible. Here's a quote we have from Batfleck himself. He says, quote, "There are certain characters who hold a special place in the hearts of millions. Performing this role demands focus, passion, and the very best performance I can give. It's become clear I cannot do both jobs to the level they require together with the studio. I've decided to find a partner and a director who we will collaborate with on this massive film. I'm still in this. We are still making it, but we are currently looking for a director. I remain extremely committed to the project and look forward to bringing this to life for fans around the world." People are saying this has nothing to do with the disappointment of his current movie that's out, Live by Night, which he starred and directed in. But Geiger, we'll just throw it right to you. What are your thoughts on this? Because I have a feeling that as another person like me who loves Batman and grew up with him, this is kind of scary news to hear.
First off, I want to give myself a pat on the back for two reasons. One, that I'm still breathing and I haven't taken my life. But the other is because usually when this happens, I think one way and I'm thinking, okay, I want to see if my opinion's right. So the first thing I do is go to the comments and message boards, which is not a healthy way to go.
It's a disgusting part of the world where we live.
It's a very, very sad part of the world that I heavily partake in most of my days because I think a lot of the content.
I think
there.
It's worse than like the Ninth Ward in New Orleans, if you think about
it.
Yeah,
it's not a good place. So instead, I started actually reading articles written by professionals, and I can agree that if this is true, that Affleck probably went back and watched Batman vs. Superman and saw some of the fight scenes. This is stuff he has never, ever done. I think the closest he's ever gotten to a Batman film would probably be The Town, just from explosion and kind of a gritty, bank robber type story. But he's never done mano-a-mano fight scenes. Now, if they'd have a villain such as Penguin, or Riddler, or Joker, or someone like that, where it's not going to have a fight scene with Batman, obviously, because Batman would kick all their asses. They have to use their mind. I could maybe see him directing this movie. However, they're not. They're getting his equal adversary. If there's ever been another equal adversary, it's Deathstroke, Slade Wilson. That's who they're getting in this role. So I can see maybe him looking at the same Martha scene and some other stuff that Snyder did and being like, I don't know how to do that, so maybe I'll falter to somebody else. Now, the other side of me just thinks that maybe him and Warner Brothers are not seeing eye to eye, and he's saying, fuck this. And he's just going to continuously step down until he basically Michael Keaton's us and leaves us. But I'm hoping that doesn't happen. But that's kind of my 2 cents on it.
What I'm worried about is I'm worried that this is going to become the equivalent of, when like you and your boys are like hanging out and you're about to go out to the bars, and that one guy said he's going to come out and hang out with you, and he's like, hey guys, I think I'm going to miss the pregame. Like, I'm sorry, I'll catch you at the bars. And you're like, okay, cool. You go to the bars. And he's like, you know what, bro? Got a little tied up here. I'm going to have to catch you guys at the second bar you go to. You go to the second bar, and he texts you again. You're like, dude, you're not fucking showing up, are you? I'm worried this is a precursor where Affleck says, you know what, this is too much to put on my plate. I won't direct it, but I'll star in it and executive produce it. Then I'm worried in 3 or 4 months when they start to get into development, he might say, you know what, I just need to focus on staying in shape and starring as Batman. I won't EP it or work on the script. And then, God forbid, because the sky would be falling and we would end the podcast, if Affleck comes out and says, you know what, I just don't think that I'm game in the DCEU anymore, if, God forbid, Justice League doesn't do well, that's what I'm worried about, is the writing on the wall. Obviously, he's a great director, and I want him to be a part of this project, but if it is like you're saying, which I know we speculated off pod that it was, that the size and scope of some of the action set pieces in this and what he saw Zack Snyder do on the set of BVS is just not something he's comfortable handling, but wants to still be a part of the story and the lead in it, then that's great news, I personally think. Like, get someone else who can do that, and obviously you'll still be involved. But if this is him just trying to, like, slowly take himself out of the picture to where it'll be less of a blow whenever he does leave the project altogether in a few months, then I'm nervous as shit. That's kind of how I feel.
I really, there's something with this because have you ever known an athlete or an actor, especially at the top of their game, and Affleck took on the Batman role because he said, I want a challenge, I can handle shit. He's wanted a challenge since he walked on the, in, I think Good Will Hunting, that wasn't his first movie. I think Days Confused was. But Good Will Hunting was his first kind of intro where he wrote it and stuff like that with Matt Damon. Actors want, to develop their career. They want challenges. I've never heard anybody say, you know what, I'm just not good enough to do this. There's something with this. Have you ever heard anyone say that in their whole fucking life? An actor just being like, you know what, I need to leave. I'm just not good enough to do this role, or I can't direct it the way it should be directed. I've never heard anyone do that before. That's why I think there's something else to this.
Yeah, and that's kind of what has me worried, because everything we've heard him say the past few weeks, we knew that there were script issues with it, and he kept saying, everything's fine, and then he also said, which you and I actually loved, when he said, we're not going to fucking do this movie if the script is not where it needs to be. That was all the right stuff. Now, for whatever reason, he wants to take his name off of director of it. I'm hoping that Live by Night just didn't crush it at the box office the way he wanted, and he's thinking, you know what? This is not the type of movie I need to be directing right now. I'm still very much involved. Let me be as in the trenches as I can in terms of the story writing. And he's even said he's going to help bring on the new director, which we're going to talk about here in a second. But like I said, I'm not so much worried about this as to what I think the next move could be. And this is another one of those projects with DC, man. If this hits another bump in the road or another hiccup, we're in trouble. Like, not just the Batman, but the fucking DCEU, if this thing does not work out, is maybe done. I hate to say it, but maybe it's done.
Don't use the word we. You're on a nice ship over there, and I'm on the fucking, I'm taking on water right now on the DC boat. And I'm telling you, the Affleck I know, I act like we're drinking buddies, but ever since he's been on Batman, and I was kind of a fan of him before he was Batman, but this isn't him. He's never wanted to shy off a challenge. Okay, Live by Night didn't do so well. Who the fuck cares? I'm doing the Batman, and what sucks is that, and I said this about Suicide Squad too, this was one that we thought just couldn't miss. Suicide Squad, after watching the trailers, like, there's no way this is going to be a shitty movie, and it was. I know. And then the Batman, after how Affleck played it, and then we're going to have Affleck direct it, that he was, 4 for 4 going in before Live by Night, I was like, man, there's no way this is going to suck, and now it's shaky. It's just really scary to be a DC fan right now.
It is. They're not standing on solid ground. So, Geiger, last thing we do before we move on to our next topic here. So there was a short list that came out with 4 directors that are rumored to maybe be involved, and Affleck wanting to bring them onto the project. Now, the 2 names that came up that aren't on this list that are, I think, like, fallbacks for DC are, of course, Zack Snyder, who would direct this in a fucking heartbeat. I think we can all agree. And David Ayer, who I've pretty much soured on after Suicide Squad. But how do you feel about either of those 2 options before we get into this list?
Ayer shouldn't touch this. I'm going to say something that's probably pretty controversial. I'd love Zack Snyder to direct this movie because people that love BVS are probably with me. People that hated it, I'll ask you a simple question. Did you like the Batman scenes? 90% of the people that hated BVS were like, Batman was the best part of this fucking movie. Yeah. So imagine Snyder just doing that with hopefully not a jumbled up script that has 80 different fucking things going on. I followed it. I loved it. I know some people that didn't. I can understand that. But it's just going to be, as far as we know right now, just Deathstroke versus Batman. There might be kind of middle ground. We think that Gordon might get captured by Joker, probably, maybe Riddler. I don't know if they're going to introduce somebody else. But this is going to be a pretty grounded script. And who wouldn't want to see more Save Martha scenes? I mean, I fucking do. That was the greatest Batman scene I've ever fucking seen.
You and I started doing push-ups.
I would open Zack Snyder with loving arms if he wanted to do this.
I would be down with Snyder, too. After that Martha scene, you and I were asked to leave the theater because we started lifting weights in the aisles.
Yep.
That's how jacked up we got it. So real quick, we'll just run through these. I'm going to read 4 directors and their most well-known work, and then we'll each just pick whoever we would go with. So, again, this is from a report from Variety. The first one is Matt Reeves, who has done Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, is about to do War of the Planet of the Apes, and did the movie Cloverfield, which I really liked. The second one is George Miller. Most recently did Mad Max Fury Road, and he's been loosely rumored to be attached to the Man of Steel sequel whenever that happens. The third one is Matt Ross, who did Boardwalk Empire. And the fourth one, I think the big wild card here, is Jonathan Nolan, brother of Christopher Nolan, who co-wrote The Dark Knight and The Dark Knight Rises and was the showrunner of Westworld. So of those four, take your pick if you had to take one right now.
I don't want Miller, and here's why. I don't think he's really been loosely linked. I think it's been pretty hard linked to the Man of Steel 2. I think he said he's really wanted to do it. We need to build up Superman. We can't just have Batman be fucking awesome. Marvel does a very good job at building up their third tier people with Guardians of the Galaxy and make them look like superstars. We need to start doing that with our, the Fab Four, with Aquaman, with Flash, and with Superman first. So I want Miller to stay with that. I would love for Jonathan Nolan to get a chance here. He was linked to all the Dark Knights, Rises, all those movies. He helped write them. He saw what his brother did. I love Christopher Nolan. I have a problem with how he shoots fight scenes, but with Jonathan Nolan, you also have the Westworld kicker, where he could get a lot of those actors to come over, and we kind of talked about this. Anthony Hopkins would be a great Hugo Strange. Your boy James Marsden would be a great. I would like him as Nightwing.
He would be.
They need Nightwing in there somewhere.
God,
they need to finish up this Jason Todd storyline and have a Nightwing versus Red Hood movie. But those would be that'd be my pick. Would be Nolan.
Yep, I would go Nolan, and then like you said, I would not lose sleep if Zack Snyder got the project as well. All right, that'll do it for chest day. After every bro does his chest workout, what do we need, Geiger? We need a protein shake. That's our second topic, where we're just going to quickly shake up some other news from the world of superhero movies and dish out on it. It's more DC news this week. Also kind of a bit of a shakeup. So DC's The Flash is currently without a director, having lost two in the space of a few months. It's now been reported that the movie is being completely rewritten and will most likely miss its targeted 2018 release date. According to Variety, Warner Brothers has decided to go with an entirely new script while they look for their third director. The site states that Joby Harold has been hired for this role. Harold has also written the upcoming King Arthur Legend of the Sword. So he is reworking the script of The Flash. It is pushed back, looking for its third director. Geiger, I know we've shit on this a lot, but you and I actually think that this is good news for The Flash, right?
I love this. Take your time with it. Don't fucking hurry it. Warner Brothers fucks it up when you have it on time. And Flash is our Spider-Man. He has the capability to be Spider-Man in the DCEU. He has the capability of kids wanting to dress up like him for Halloween for years to come.
Kids running through the mall like, I'm Flash! Like, no, you're fucking not. You stepped on my foot.
Jerry Maguire feels bad for me now. He lost the number one pick of the draft the night before the draft. I, as a DC fan, has lost 3 fucking directors on 2 movies in the last 3 months, and no other DC movie has come out to give me any sort of hope. I'm just hoping to Christ that Wonder Woman is maybe a B-, B+ movie. Just, I hope. I mean, it looks pretty good, but every DC movie has. I love this step on Warner Bros. Though. Take your time. There's no rush. There's no race. Marvel's already won. They're 80 laps ahead of us. We should just be worried about developing our characters now, because sooner or later, after Marvel does Infinity War Part 2, they're going to have to revamp this entire thing. And that's when we're just going to start kicking around the first fucking lap. Because we developed, if you do it right. But don't try to compete with Marvel. Marvel had, a 10-year head start? Take your time. Flash are, in my opinion, my second favorite DC superhero that I would love to see. And they need to take their time and just do a Flash movie. Just a Flash movie.
If they would have tried to have this hit its original release date, it would have been a fucking mess. 3 scripts would have been on its third direct. I mean, I don't even know what that thing would have looked like.
It would have been worse than any Fantastic Four movie. You can quote me on that. There's no fucking way.
If you thought Suicide Squad was a hodgepodge, this would have somehow been. This would have looked like your mom trying to edit like your graduation video.
It would have been terrible.
And you're like, Mom, you have my 8th grade picture like as the last one. She's like, I don't fucking know how to use editing equipment. And so that's kind of how this.
It's a CGI movie for sure.
Exactly.
That's what makes it even more. It'd be more jumbled up mess. This isn't just a movie about somebody in a fucking trailer or something.
And I also think it's important now they can have Ezra Miller play the Flash in Justice League Part 1. This will probably honestly now come out after Justice League Part 2. So the Flash will really have, this is a great pun, but he'll have its legs under him. And this thing will have a better chance. Audiences will know who the character is. I just think it's so much better. Just fucking get it right, dude. Like, you and I were next in line to direct this thing if it had one more speed bump. So,
well, I think Warner Brothers will know what the character is too, because after Justice League comes out, you can kind of see what people like about the Flash, maybe what people don't like about him. You know, you can't tweak his character 100%, but you can see, okay, they kind of like this about him. We need to tell this more in the story than this other stuff. I think it's a good move, for sure. Take your time with him. He's your third biggest character. I mean, Aquaman is not that big a character. Momoa just makes him a big character the way he looks. But Flash is your third biggest character in the Justice League, period.
Also, and this is probably a minor thing, but now by the time this movie comes out, who knows? I have a feeling the TV show The Flash will no longer be on, so you won't have to worry about that confusion. And even though I prefer Wally West as my Flash to Barry Allen, I'm going to give Ezra Miller a chance in this role. And I think this is the only shot that this movie had to not be complete dog shit. So that's good.
We'll be watching him with arms crossed for sure. We weren't very excited about that casting, especially when you get Momoa as Aquaman.
As Senator Palpatine says to Anakin at the end of Episode 1, "And you, young Ezra Miller, we will watch your career with great interest."
Yeah, we're just waiting for him to fuck up. But I'm optimistic, I guess. I have to be.
All right, guys. Our last segment is the one question that bros always ask each other, and that's, do you even lift, bro? If Banner were here, he would be spouting it off in the background. But today we had some good fan interaction. This is a guy that been chatting us up on Facebook, Connor A. Agrippino. Connor will tag you in this video. Thanks a lot for the question. So Connor brought up a good point. Before we start this, he actually did a review on the 90s reboot of Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers, which I fucking loved as a kid. Saturday mornings, Fox.
Well spent right there.
Yeah. And Connor asks, as a huge fan of all things 90s and knowing that the Broforce Squad is as well, we've started to see an influx of old shows being rebooted or redone both in animated form and live action. What is a property from when you were growing up that you would like to see revisited? Now, before you and I dive into our answers, Brian Banner, the mad scientist, the third member of our pod, who could not be with us tonight, that sounds like he's dead, but he just had other plans. He wanted us to go to bat for Beast Wars.
He's dead to us tonight because he's not here, but he's alive.
But do you remember the show Beast Wars? Basically, it's Transformers, but fucking jungle animals turned into like. That's what he wants to see. I don't know how you do that, but that would be insanely awesome.
I guarantee it'd have to be directed by Michael Bay for sure. Yeah. If you did it live action.
Absolutely.
But yeah, it would be. I hope it would have no plot, but it would just be a stupid movie to see. It'd be probably awesome. But yeah, he is right. That would be a cool one to see.
I mean, just knowing you could probably get a sick ass voice cast for the Beast Wars too.
It would just be like a tiger like running down an interstate. Like, what the fuck is this? Like, that's one. There's always a couple trailers that sneak away from social media, and that'd be one. You just see that, and then a tiger would turn into fucking the Beast War. You're like, holy shit, is this like
And the way it would work would be like you and I sitting in the theater when the trailer comes on, like, this looks fucking stupid. Then it cuts to us opening night sitting in the theater, like, God, I can't wait for this to start.
Yeah, I can't wait for this motherfucker.
So my pick is, I don't know if anyone remembers this, but it's the Street Sharks. And if you don't remember, maybe I should run their motto by you. They fight, they bite, Street Sharks, bitch. I added the last part, but basically the Street Sharks were 3 bodybuilders who took some form of anabolic steroids that turned them into sharks that fought crime, and they swam under the streets of LA, basically. So I think I've modeled my life based on their story of heroism, and I would like to see a live-action movie of that, preferably as close to rated R as we can get, and then throw in, like, maybe one of them is like a convict, or I mean, I just want it to be gritty and visceral, and somehow still have a $200 million budget when I go see it, basically.
Bring steroids back in comics, please. We need them. Mine is Gargoyles.
Yep.
I fucking loved Gargoyles. And we were talking about this off pod, how we both had the movie, and I totally forgot about the board game that came with it that you played along with the movie.
It came in a massive VHS box, and I was like, what the fuck is this when I bought it? And I was like, oh my god, Mom, there's a board game in it.
Yeah, it's a massive. But I would like it to be live action to answer your question, Connor. This is an awesome question. And I'd like Favreau to direct it, make it Jungle Book fucking style. I think this could be. And once again, I'd like this to be rated R and dark and gritty. Hey, that's just who I am. I mean, we could make this kind of poppy and stupid, but why would you do that? This is an awesome show.
There's the dude in it who, like, tricks the gargoyles. He, like, fucking moves a castle onto the top of a skyscraper in New York City. I want that guy played by, like, Benedict Cumberbatch.
Yeah, and it was a thing where when it's sunlight, they turn into a statue of a
Yeah,
gargoyle.
they're just
And
chilling
at
on the
night,
building.
Just like break open and they're crazy, and then they just go and fight crime, I guess. Or
What was
I
the
can't even remember it. I don't remember the storyline. I just remember it was badass when I watched it.
I just remember as a kid, like I would eat my fucking sugary cereal in the morning, and I would just sit and watch it with my brother and just beat the shit out of him while it was on.
We need to post this on our Facebook page, but the opening to Gargoyle, like the opening thing that comes before each episode, was fucking badass. When Goliath breaks over at the end, and he's just muscular and purple, and you're like, holy shit!
Damn it! We need to just do a separate pod only on. We should do a movie commentary on the Gargoyles movie. Is what we should do.
I would watch that in a heartbeat for sure with the six pack. That's easy.
All right, guys, we will wrap up on that. Before we let you go, again, thanks for tuning in. We are the Bro 4 Squad podcast. Check us out on bro4squad.com. Subscribe to us on iTunes, Bro 4 Squad, 3 words. Same thing on YouTube. You can find us on Twitter at Bro 4 Squad. Like our Facebook page, Bro 4 Squad. Kind of see a recurring theme here on where to find us. And before we let you go, if you go to our website, we are doing right now the Comic Movie Badness Tournament, where we put the 64 best or most infamous comic book movies of all time into a bracket. We need your guys' help deciding which is the greatest ever. Please go vote. Cast your comments at us at all the places below. For Matt Geiger, our enforcer in the paint, I'm your host, Jeff Hornacek. Thank you guys, and we will catch you next time.
Later.